Allow the children
it's okay. It's okay. Off your mic. It's okay. Off your mic.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, my ego don't come. Him go touchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego politico, my ego don't come, oh, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, my ego don't come, oh, yo. And in the touchlight every corner, oh, my ego don't come, oh, yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Them be promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. See them talk say make we off mind, but thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego die the politico, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my egun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my egun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say my egun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh, yo. My egun don't come, oh, yo. My people make you shout, oh, yo. My egun don't come, oh, yo. Man of the masses, my ego don't come, my ego diary politico, my ego don't come, this man not the off in mind, my ego don't come, aha. Now you not done here, all these bad politicians, then we call themselves politicians. When they thief our money, we no want make the common man get waiting supposed get for this country. Una never hear something. Now go hear one, my ego. You go show na paper. My ego diary political.
Hundreds of UK registered nurses must retake their boards after widespread fraud has been uncovered at a Nigerian testing center. They are suspected of obtaining their results fraudulently through the Nursing Midwife Council exam by using proxy testers, stand-ins, to take their tests for them. It was actually Pearson VUE that tipped off regulators. So 515 UK nurses tested at the center, and at least 48 are suspected, and now all of them must retake the test. They're being given 3 chances to take it and pass. If they refuse to take it or fail after 3 attempts, they're going to have to go to an investigative committee. And additionally, 669 of 1,440 who have applied to the UK register after testing at that center in Nigeria are suspected to be fraudulent applicants, and they're also required to take a new computer-based test. It just keeps happening. Hundreds of UK registered nurses must retake their boards after widespread fraud has been uncovered at a Nigerian test.
Ayékún làwa mọ̀ làwọn tó dòdòdò. Ayékún dáyàrí Ayékún ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú. Ayékún dáyàrí lórí Facebook lórí YouTube. Ayékún dáyàrí gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Máyégún já wa sí. Ayékún dáyàrí àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í kó níbẹ̀ o. Ayékún dáyàrí
Hello there. Sorry about that. I'm trying to figure out my audio. Please let me know if the audio is perfect on your own device there before we get deeper, please.
Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Máyégún. Máyégún dáyàrí.
Is the audio perfect?
Kẹ́kọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́nu. Máyégún dáyàrí.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Máyégún Live.
Àní ẹ̀sùn Raki. Máyégún ti dé. Máyégún ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn Raki. Máyégún ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn Raki.
Thank you.
Lórí Facebook. Máyégún ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn Raki. Lórí YouTube.
Thank you very much. As much as the audio is perfect, it's sort of a bit lower from my own end. But yeah, we're going to get into it. You know the rituals. You need to read the caption of the broadcast, read the description of the broadcast, share the broadcast, invite your friends and not so friendly friends, and tell them, Máyégún today.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá ayé ẹ̀sùn Raki. Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o ayé ẹ̀sùn Raki.
It's coming up now.
Olóṣèlú ayé ẹ̀sùn Raki.
Yesterday, we were looking into the documents released by the Chicago State University. And right here, even here on this platform, we were able to dissect the whole hidden or fraudulent documents. The one that didn't sort of absolve Tinubu from all of these allegations, right? In fact, they further confirmed them. We waited there for the deposition. Deposition is when, Chicago State University that released a document, that released the document, would then come under the oath and swear that everything they are releasing them honestly and they are backing them up. Now, you can't lie, not like in Nigeria, okay? In America, you can't lie under oath. If you don't know something, you have to say you don't know. You cannot defend what you don't know because you can end up in jail. So after releasing the documents, Tinubu's lawyers, Atiku's lawyers, Chicago State University lawyers and their representatives, all of them were present when they started scrutinizing every document. Ladies and gentlemen, the document that Tinubu has been parading for the past 44 years is fake. He forged it. He never went to Chicago State University, right? Identity theft. From the confession of the Chicago State University yesterday, it came to light that the real Bola Tinubu did not graduate from their university per se. In fact, when they were issuing certificates for students and what have you, this Bola Tinubu never showed up, never picked it up. Tinubu said he lost his own document when Abacha bombed his house in Nigeria because they were fighting for democracy. That never happened. But on record, Tinubu said he requested for a replacement in 1997. From the record of the Chicago State University, Tinubu never requested for a replacement. he decided to forge one, which right now has now been denied and disowned by the Chicago State University. I just thought I should give you the start, right? Share the broadcast.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o. Ayé ẹ̀sùn lájú. Òkúra olóṣèlú. Ayé ẹ̀sùn lájú.
YouTube pulled down the video yesterday. I think I should use all the available opportunity to always put us all on alert, okay? It seems that we are getting their attention. These people are reporting my YouTube videos as cyberbullying. That is, Mayegun is bullying Tinubu. Mayegun is bullying their government. That's exactly what they are reporting it as. So, two straight nights, on Sunday evening and yesterday, on the Monday evening, yesterday evening. So, two broadcasts that specifically spoke on the Tinubu's forged certificate in the last 72 hours have been pulled down. But the original videos have been pulled down by YouTube because they felt like it runs foul of their rules, which never did. Unfortunately, they couldn't point anything out, but they said, well, we are sorry, we couldn't let it stay. So I want to put all of you on notice, okay, that they are currently on us, and definitely we are hitting the right nail on the head. We have done nothing wrong. This platform and this program is mainly, right, for enlightenment as well as for educational purposes. And it is political. You understand? So if anything should go, what have you, just be rest assured that that will never keep us shut. You understand? So be on that notice. They are on us. Last night, we had over 60,000 people who actually tuned in on that expose. And tonight, we believe that it is almost going to be similar. Therefore, there is possibility that this particular video will also be pulled down. But be rest assured, like I said, there is always going to be alternatives. The video is still back on Mayegun's Diary Political, but they are now in parts. So if you haven't seen them, or if you have been looking for that main one and you haven't seen it, just go and watch them in parts. This is like the continuation. Remember, you need to like the broadcast too to show that you are here. That is your offering. Thank you. Now, this is us going into it now. Ladies and gentlemen, Nigeria is in a big mess. And let us start from the people who are saddled with the responsibility of, for the sake of the public interest, to share the truth for the sake of public interest. I am talking about the media. The media in Nigeria right now, they are rolling head over, hills, trying to get their own crumb from whatever APC, Egbekegbe, is offering. This media in Nigeria, not all of them, because you can still count on those who have risked it or who are risking it all right now and speaking out, like Oseni Rufai and many others like that. But you can tell the major of the media cartel in Nigeria are already in the ass of this APC, Egbekegbe. We are talking about, and it's not just the media. We are also talking about those who claim to be elites, educated ones, and, scholars, what do they call them? Elder statesmen. Majority of them are telling people, they are telling young people now that they should let it go. They should forget it. Forging certificates, being a former drug trafficker, things that ordinarily should never, should be enough to have made sure that people like Tinubu never had a chance of getting closer to seat of power. But they are all keeping quiet right now, or they are all gaslighting the people. So the media, they are actually giving the people different narratives in Nigeria right now. Immediately, Chicago State University dropped the once they dropped the record. Nigeria media, they were not interested in the content of that record. TV, radio, papers in Nigeria, they were all more or less like in celebratory mood, telling Nigerians in Nigeria that Tinubu has been vindicated. Chicago State University has confirmed that he attended their school. A lot of them who claimed to be educated as well, they were slaughtering and destroying their own whatever image they are for this guy. They are now, right now I have been seeing interpretations like you can design your own certificate when you graduate from your school. You can do this, you can, all those things that, educated people just to defend this. So in Nigeria, they were telling those in Nigeria that Atiku is only wasting his time in America because what he is asking for is that the Tinubu attended Chicago State University, and Chicago State University have said, yes, he attended their school. That the issue of whether he's a girl or a boy, that one is just a typographical error. It is a non-issue. And they were celebrating that in Nigeria. They were having programs on TV in Nigeria. Right now, that a lot of us on social media are so much, disgusted with all of this. No, they are not. In Nigeria, they continue to mishmash the whole thing, including their churches and their mosques. By the way, they couldn't tell their people that, listen, this is what has been. Again, not all of them, because I can tell you, there have been people who have actually spoken out as well, damning all of these biases. A lot of them, and the reason why a lot of you are asking, that how could they know about this discovery this time, that Nigeria is still calm? Nigerians are not reacting to it. Why are the people not making demands right now? Be on the street and ask the appropriate institutions in Nigeria to react before whatever is left of Nigeria image, right, is completely buried and buried forever. You may be asking yourself right there, the reason is not far-fetched. The little ways, the little information, the little medium of accessing information in Nigeria is controlled by these criminals. And that is why they are hunting and, targeting journalists that dared ask questions. So they control that medium and they want the social media gone and gone forever. But if you have an opportunity of watching me from Nigeria, listen to me. I don't know what they have told you. I don't know what you believe. And I don't know where you stand, and I don't want to. But you see what you're about to hear from my mouth this evening. Whatever you like, you want to do with it, that is on you. But the fact that I am going to make it easier for you to understand what is really happening and what does this actually mean, beyond the fact that a lot of you have chosen to be stupid, okay? Like downplaying this whole thing. To you, my friend, it's nothing. Was this not the same thing they were talking about Buhari? Your line of argument. You can all continue to cry. Oh yeah, come and remove him now. Why don't you come and impeach him? And every other thing you are telling yourself. That is fine. It's fine. It's okay. You can choose to remain that stupid. That's fine. But here is something you have, you will not be able to kind of deny. Whether not 10 minutes, 20, or half hour, or the whole time you are going to spend with us this evening, I am going to let you, you're going to leave this platform tonight or whatever hour you are right now. You are going to leave it with a troubled conscience. And that is exactly what I'm going to achieve. A troubled conscience, because your conscience might be cold, dark, whatever it is. You might actually be in a way not concerned. Indifferent, the way some of you pretended to be in the face of this whole thing. That is fine, okay? But there are things you will not be able to deny because you are going to find yourself in some of the scenarios I am going to eventually paint tonight before you leave. So yeah, choose to be. But the truth of the matter is this. Tinubu, as we have it right now, has no educational qualification or any proof of it. None. When Tinubu started this criminal political career, when he ran back from the United States of America in the early 90s, and being associated with other possibly, criminals themselves in fighting for return to democracy. He had money. He came with a bag of money from the United States of America. Part of that money, $1.8 million from that money, was almost frozen. He renegotiated it, forfeited $60,000 US dollars to the American authority, but he didn't stay in America to fight all of that. While the rest of his friends were going to jail, as they were hunting them and then jailing them, he ran to Nigeria. Back in Nigeria, he joined politics. He was elected senator, of course, in 1992. So being elected senator, he decided to build his career through that until 1999. So in 1999, when Nigeria returned back to democracy, so it was time for everybody to now show your credentials. So Tinubu decided to be governor of Lagos State. So from the educational qualifications he submitted at the time, he wrote where he went to primary school, secondary school, and then the university. So it was during this, cross-examination that it was found that he didn't go to any primary school. The one he presented was fake. The secondary school he presented was fake. Therefore, he has committed perjury. And it doesn't matter. He must be automatically disqualified, arrested, tried, and jailed. That was what their law says. That was the moment Tinubu started fighting this battle of identity. Since then, since 1999, 24 years ago. But he used every tool, every negotiating tool and whatever to get himself really good out of it. Not really completely, but it was like inconclusive criminal prosecution. But later, when another opportunity presented himself and he wanted to be president of Nigeria, what did he do? He was a little bit smart, but not very smart. Oh, sorry, it was a little bit, he wanted to act clever, but he wasn't smart with it as well. So he chose never to list any primary school, secondary school in his INEC form for the president of Nigeria. He now listed Chicago State University with one ridiculous degree he awarded to himself that doesn't exist. So from all of this, while he's been trying to forge that throughout his career, he's probably mixed them up. When they asked him in 1999, why did you have all of these fake documents? He blamed Tokunbo Afikuyomi. Tokunbo Afikuyomi was his very strong boy at the time, and I believe he still is. He said Tokunbo Afikuyomi filled his form, and it was Tokunbo Afikuyomi that mixed the whole thing up. So eventually they settled out of court. Chief Gani Faweyimi couldn't complete the total disgrace of this call until he's grown to a big monster you have today, who has captured all institutions, that even his old friend, Bokwari, that tried to stop him at the last minute, realized at the late hour that this guy, Pablo, has already surrounded him. He's already taken over the major ministries. He's already, institutions in Nigeria. So what was left? It couldn't be stopped anymore. The monster has now grown. The beast has now grown to a big monster that the entire institutions in Nigeria have almost been captured, if not everything captured as we speak. So he submitted another document to the INEC. The DSS in Nigeria, they did not do any background check. Of course, you know why now. Why they won't, and why they didn't. Then it was passed onto the INEC body, the electoral body, that is meant to scrutinize every candidate that is running for an election. It is their job. But because it is a corrupt system, he also got cleared. So if he was being cleared by those who are responsible for doing his own background check and all of this check and discover all of these things and save millions of people, the misery, the embarrassment, the disgrace that this whole thing is going to bring upon Nigeria is already starting, by the way. They did not do their job because they were all compromised. So here we are. He was able to use the same state capture to rig an election that has become so disputed. It's one of the greatest, the greatest disputed election in Nigeria history. It is the most charming, like it's a sham, so to say. So he's battling with legitimacy on that part because, like when he ran to be governor and he was governor of Lagos State, this bag was not deeply, probably this time, deeply exposed. Or should we say, there was no social media in 1999. And they could control the main media to make sure that the narrative remained what they wanted it to be. And it worked for some time until he came out now to lead Nigeria. So that then brings in more searchlight. Who is this guy? It didn't even take too long when David Hundeyin, the bat slayer, decided to dig further from what has been historically the story and inconsistencies about Tinubu. When David surfaced, it was like he was doing too much. We didn't know he was doing a generation a favor. The older generation who lived through Tinubu's criminality, they are now saying Atiku is intentionally disgracing his friend. That what does he stand there to gain? That everybody knows all these things now. Are you listening to me? The older generation that will tell you that you are overdoing it. Let it go. Forget it. Is it a certificate we go shop? He's already president. All of you are just crying, lamenting, and you open their profile. They are elderly looking people. They believe that nobody who has grown enough in 1999 that did not know about Tinubu's story. So they wanted everybody to just forget, let's just move on. Is he the only person that will first forge certificates? So they are now saying, she Atiku want to talk, say he no Tinubu about all of these things. Like, why is he trying to act like he's telling us new thing? That is not new. Everybody knows that Tinubu is corrupt, is shady. Nobody knows about him and all of that stuff. But the fact is that he is winning. Do you understand that? He is winning now. He became governor. Do you know how many people he has made senator? He has made governor. Now he's president. Everybody is just feeling, everybody is just beefing him. It is no longer about morality anymore. But let's even put moral aside for now. He has committed a serious crime. Identity theft. He stole somebody's identity. You know, initially, the argument is about whether he went to Chicago University, or he graduated there, or he didn't graduate there, Abi. Then Chicago State University came out and said, Bola Tinubu, attended, one Bola Tinubu attended their school, and they said graduated initially, remember? So people now said, okay, show us the certificates of that Bola Tinubu. When they decided to show us documents, they discovered that there is a Bola Tinubu from Southwest College that gained admission into Chicago State University in 1977 for a diploma course in business administration. You dey follow me? There is record of that. But you see, this Bola Tinubu was female. Okay? And, you know, they have the record for her. In the process of presenting the records, they started mixing them up. Okay? But they still gave us anyway by leaving us with more questions than answers. In Nigeria, Tinubu filled the presidential form at the INEC. Inside the form, Tinubu did not fill in primary school. He did not fill in secondary school. Probably remembering late Chief Gani Faweyemi and waiting in Duam. He decided to fill in Chicago State University with Bachelors of Science in Business Admin and then Accounting Honors. That's the title of the degree he gave to himself. He said he graduated in 1979 with Bachelors of Science in Business Administration and Accounting Honors. So that came out to be fake. Let me see if I still have the copy. Bachelors of Science, Business and Administration with Honors. That's it. Okay? So why people started probing that the Chicago State University certificate for 1979 was not designed like this. So Chicago State University was thereby subpoenaed by David Hundeyin and another lawyer. When they released the document to David, it was David who came back to tell us that forget about forgery, this or that, there is even more. The story long. The Bola Tinubu girl. This was as far back as October or November 2022. Atiku and PDP, kind of behind the scene, also sent a lawyer to go and subpoena the same Chicago State University to release even more than just what they released there to David. However, they also returned back and gave that lawyer another certificate that they said was Tinubu's certificate. So these two people, David and these lawyers, right? They compared that, they gave them two different certificates, Chicago State University. Even at that, the two certificates they gave to them, they are also different from the one Tinubu submitted to INEC. What is going on? Now, when the election happened and it went the way it went, Atiku had to return back to America, this time around, with more, deeper, stronger legal team. Okay? These ones that will go to the, if Tinubu run into rabbit hole, they go follow him. And that's exactly what happened. So these ones were now asking, those documents you are given to this journalist, to this lawyer, we want to see everything. Okay? So they now listed what they wanted, and they gave the list to the court. The court said they have to give those documents, those records of Tifnumbu, everything they have to give them to Atiku's lawyer. Not just give it to them. When you give them those documents, Atiku's lawyer will look at them, and then you will come and verify those documents you are giving to his lawyers. It is called deposition. It is not just for me to come out and say, Oyagba, these are the documents, Oyagba. So you must come and defend that document you are giving to me. You must say that this document you are giving to me, you are 100% sure that you know everything about it, that you didn't manufacture any of them. You did not create them out of the blue. So if they probe further, you will be able to defend every one of them. So don't just bring documents. Don't just give people these things in the media. That is what is called deposition. Now, dear Wahala started. That was when Tinubu realized that this whole thing is beyond just collecting his record and splashing them in the media. No. They would have to prove, collecting all this record is to prove that Tinubu committed a serious crime. Among others, he stole somebody's identity and he started living the life of that person. We don't know the person. Chicago State University will need to come and prove who is that person. And if they can prove that the Tinubu that went to their school and presented a certificate to INEC is the same one, that is fine. That's all they wanted them to do. Now, dear Wahala deal, because Chicago State University, therefore, have to call their legal team to advise them. So after releasing those records, it was time for deposition. Now, there is this unedited deposition. It is not proofread yet. So which means there's going to be so many typographical error. There are typographical error in them. But they were the conversation around Tifnumbu's certificate. So from the deposition, the issue of the Tinubu that came to Chicago State, from Southwest College to Chicago State University, a girl, she was an American too, not Nigerian. So when they asked the Chicago State University rep during deposition after swearing to an oath that everything is going to say is truth, nothing but the truth, only all truth, nothing but the truth. They asked him, your university, can you prove that the Bola Tinubu that came to your school is the same as Bola Ahmed Tinubu? The Bola Tinubu, female, American, that gained admission from Southwest College to your university, is she or he the same as Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Baba, the school said they cannot say. What, have you ever seen Bola Ahmed Tinubu in your record? Said, well, except for the time they were exchanging conversation with different people requesting for Tinubu's certificate. So they couldn't say if the Bola Tinubu that came to their school was a girl or a boy during the oath. They couldn't say. They said they can't say if it's a boy or a girl. Now that Bola Tinubu, who is now Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, presented a certificate from your institution. Did you issue that certificate? They said, well, we did not issue that certificate because the stamp on that certificate is not the stamp from our school. We never issued that. Really? How is that? It was then Tifnumbu's lawyer, who was also there, His name is Wole Oluwole, something like Wole Oluwole, who went to the court to defend the Oluwole certificate. Inside that court, they now said forging stamp, forging certificate of institutions, schools in America is a Nigerian thing. They said that during the deposition, saying the stamp on the certificate presented by Tifnumbu was not from their school. So, you know that Nigerians like to forge things. It is a Nigerian thing. They forge it. So Tifnumbu forged a stamp that doesn't belong to them and presented it as from them. Anyway, I told you I'm going to read for a few minutes, okay? Like I said, the deposition is completely, unedited yet, okay? But for all, I'm gonna, let me see my JText there. So for all the cares to possibly, listen, I'm going to read this more or less. I'm going to read it like I'm going to read it like role play. That kind of role play. So you should just just flow with me. All right. So let's start from this is the transcript of what happened. And Caleb Westberg is the representative of the Chicago State University. So you have the Atiku's lawyer asking him questions based on all of the documents presented. They have sort of listed them as exhibits, okay? Like I said, transcript from court is just like what everybody is saying in the court, and somebody is typing them. So it needs to be kind of proofread to ensure that there is accuracy with what one person say or another. But you can get insight into this by just, I'm going to try my best to make it interesting reading for you. So it's going to be question and answer now. So this is, This is the conversation between one of Atiku's lawyers and then Caleb Westbag, who happened to be his role. So they said the following transcript of proceedings or any portion thereof in the above entitled matter taken on third day of October 2023 is being delivered unedited as an uncertified draft. Uncertified simply means they need to proofread it before they officially release it, but we have the copy, so let's just use it. Now, Miss Liu to Mr. Let's start from Miss Liu, by the way. The question said, and hi to Mr. Westbag. I'm Angela Liu with the chart on behalf, that is the name of our own, legal bar, so to say. So on behalf of applicant Atiku Abubakar, I'm present here today with my colleague Alex Damont and Taylor Jiuski, who are joining us virtually, as well as my colleague Nicole, in the other room, so to say. Would counsel likewise introduce yourself? So Mr. Ace introduced himself. Michael Ace for Chicago State University, the respondent in this matter. Then Mr. Anderson, Mr. Anderson said, good morning, Victor Anderson. I'm on behalf of the intervener. Period of time, Bola Tinubu. So Mr. Anderson represented Tinubu at this deposition, as is my colleague, Mr. Afolabi. I'll use that, Mr. Afolabi, which is another person there, right? And is appearing virtual, and you see him on the screen. So Mr. Ace from Miss Liu now. I believe you had something that you would like to add to the record. So, Mr. Ace, yes, thank you. Just a preliminary matter. We would like to note that today's deposition is under Rule 30, Section B, subsection 6, on 5 topics approved by the court in this matter. So going forward, and the university witnesses prepared to address those topics, and university witness is not prepared to speak on the university behalf on any other issues that is not related to the topics. And we would urge for the applicant and the intervenor to stay with the topics that have been approved by the court. Finally, I would note, by the agreement of the parties, this deposition is not being video recorded. We do have several persons participating remotely, but it is our understanding, and someone please speak up if this is not so, that no one that is participating remotely is video recording today's deposition. Thank you. So, Ms. Liu, thank you, Mr. Ace and Mr. Westberg. Can you please state and spell your full name for the record? Caleb Westbag. Ms. Liu, and are you being represented by Mr. Ace today? Mr. Westberg, yes. Ms. Liu, and are you being represented by anyone else in the room or on camera today? Mr. Westberg, no. Ms. Liu, have you ever been deposed before? Mr. Westberg, no. Ms. Liu, with that, I would like to go over some ground rules for the deposition. First, you are under oath today. Do you understand? Mr. Westberg, yes. Ms. Liu, and it is important that there be a clear record of today's deposition. I'm going to be asking you a series of questions, and to ensure that there is a clear transcript of your answer, please respond verbally to all of my questions. And so there should be no head shakes or head nods. Do you understand? Mr. Westberg, yes. Ms. Liu, and so that the court reporter can accurately transcribe the deposition, and let's try not to talk at the same time. Just let me finish my question before you answer, and I'll let you finish your answer before I ask next question. Do you understand? Mr. Westberg, yes. Ms. Liu, if you don't understand the question, let me know and I'll try to rephrase it. If you don't say anything, I'll assume you understood the question. Do you understand? Mr. Westberg, yes. Ms. Liu, and at times, counsel may object to my question, but unless your counsel instructs you otherwise not to answer, you can answer the question. When he has finished stating his objection, download that. Mr. Westberg, yes. Ms. Liu, finally, if at any point you would like to take a break, just let your counsel know, or me know, and we will accommodate you. The only exception, if there is a question pending, and in instance, I'll ask you to answer the question before we take a break. Do you understand? Mr. Westberg, yes. Ms. Liu, and do you have any question about the procedures we will follow today? Mr. Westberg, no. Ms. Liu, is there any reason you cannot testify truthfully and accurately today? Everyone? No? Mr. Westberg, and just to make, Mr. Westberg, no. Ms. Liu, and just to make sure we are on the same page, when I say CSU, I mean Chicago State University. Mr. Westberg, yes. Ms. Liu, and when I say Mr. Tinubu, the Bola Tinubu, who is presently the president of Nigeria. Mr. Westberg, okay. Ms. Liu, and when I say INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission in Nigeria, do you understand that? Mr. Westberg, yes. Ms. Liu, so I would like to borrow your LinkedIn, right? I am handing what is marked as Exhibit 1, whereupon Exhibit 1 was marked for identification. Ms. Liu's question, do you recognize this as your LinkedIn profile? Mr. Westberg, yes. Thank you very much, by the way. I need to ask you if this is kind of something you are following, so that I'm not just talking and getting you so bored sitting down there. It is called Deposition, and I'm going to have to do it in a role play kind. Do you understand? So that you too, you can sit down there and follow it. I'm not going to do much of this interruption. Okay, I just want to be sure that you are all following. It is a deposition, okay? So bless you. You may be reading it on the screen as well, okay? But I don't know how my voice sounds to some of you. But I'm going to keep it much like calmer and cool, so that it's not going to be kind of hurting you in the ear, okay? In your ears. Thank you very much. Now, let us continue now. Beautiful. Now, let's go back to that question, okay? Said, and I understand you graduated from the University of California at Berkeley in 2012. Is that correct? Mr. Westberg, that is correct. Ms. Liu, and then you received a master's degree in the philosophy from the University of Chicago in 2013, right? Mr. Westberg, that is correct. Ms. Liu, you've been employed as the registrar by the Chicago State University since November 2020, correct? Mr. Westberg, October 2020. Ms. Liu, since October 2020, and CSU is a public university. Mr. Westberg, correct. Ms. Liu, and can you describe to me your job responsibilities? Mr. Westberg, the registrar managing all policies, procedures for the university. So we oppose academic affairs, regulations, and keep the day-to-day management of the office functioning. Ms. Liu, and that include maintaining record? Mr. Westberg, correct. Ms. Liu, and does CSU registrar office maintain a physical office? Mr. Westberg, yes. Ms. Liu, and do you walk out of that office? Mr. Westberg, yes, I do. Ms. Liu, and how many employees work in that registrar's office? Mr. Westberg, Mr. Westberg, we are a team of 8 at present. Ms. Liu, and do the other 7 individuals report to you? Mr. Westberg, yes. Ms. Liu, and you work with all 7 of those individuals? Mr. Westberg, that's correct. Ms. Liu, I'm going to mark this as exhibit 2. So whereupon exhibit number 2 was marked for identification 2. Ms. Liu, I'm handing you what has been marked as Exhibit 2. She handed the exhibit to Mr. Westberg, then followed it with question. Miss Liu. Mr. West, this is the subpoena for the deposition, which includes the topic of examination that Mr. Ace refers to. Is that correct? Mr. Westberg. Yes. Miss Liu, prior to today's deposition, did you review the topics of the examination that are listed on the pages 4 and 5? Mr. Westberg. Yes. Miss Liu, and are you appearing today as the corporate designee, as all of the topics on pages 4 and 5 of this company? Mr. Westberg. Yes. Miss Liu, and are you prepared to each topic of examination on pages 4 and 5 of the subpoena? Mr. Westberg. Yes. Miss Liu, and do you understand, as designated corporate representative of this deposition, my questions are asking for the CSU knowledge and not your percentage, or sorry, your personal knowledge. Do you understand that? Mr. Westberg. Yes. Miss Liu, and how did you prepare to testify on the topics on the subpoena? Mr. Westberg. We reviewed the student file, conferred with legal affairs at the Chicago State, as well as Michael Ace, and reviewed the topic submitted. Miss Liu, you are concurring with Mr. Ace. How many times did you meet with Mr. Ace? Mr. Westberg. Somewhere between 4 or 5 times. Miss Liu, and when were these times? Mr. Westberg. Within the last 2 months. Miss Liu, and how long was each meeting? Mr. Westberg. At least an hour. Miss Liu, and were they in person? Mr. Westberg. No. Most. Today was in person. Most were virtual. Miss Liu, did you plead with anyone else from Mr. Ace's office? Mr. Westberg. No. Miss Liu, did you speak with any other attorneys in this room? Mr. Westberg. No. Miss Liu, did you speak with other attorneys of Mr. Tinubu? Mr. Westberg. No. Miss Liu, did you speak with any employees of CSU in preparing for this deposition? Mr. Westberg. Robin Hawkins in our legal affairs office. Miss Liu, and what is Robin's title? Mr. Westberg. I don't know her title. Miss Liu, and she is an attorney? Mr. Westberg. Yes. Miss Liu, and when did you speak with the Robin? Mr. Westberg. Within the last 2 weeks. Miss Liu, and for how long? Mr. Westberg. About an hour each time. Miss Liu, and what were the general topic of conversation? Mr. Westberg. No, sorry, Mr. Ace. Cotton. I would object on the basis of privilege. Mr. Westberg, you can answer that question generally, but do not disclose in that answer specific conversations with Miss Hawkins, who is an attorney for the CSU. generally the subject matter. Answer that, but please don't go beyond that. Mr. Westberg, we discussed the case. Miss Liu, and did you speak with any former employee of the Chicago State University in preparation for this deposition? Mr. Westberg, did you speak? Sorry, Mr. Westberg was like, I'm gonna, sorry, there is extra question there. It was like, did you speak to Mr. Tinubu or any representatives of Tinubu? Mr. Westberg, no. Miss Liu, and other than the individual that we spoke, you spoke to rather, did you speak with anyone else about today's deposition? Mr. Westberg, no. Now let's go a little bit further into figuring out how to, to make sure that Mr. Westberg was not kind of tutored or trained to come and do this and all that. But let's go to other parts. Interesting part, okay? Now, looking at those exhibits given to him, so let's take the question from here. For example, I am handing you what has been marked as Exhibit 3. These are the responses to applicants' revised subpoena to produced documents. That include the applicant's request documents. So, have you reviewed the documents request? Mr. Westberg, yes. Miss Liu, have you reviewed the responses? Mr. Westberg, yes. Miss Liu, so I have some questions to ask about the requests. First request, number 1, states a true and correct copy of any diploma for the Bachelor of Science degree issued by the CSU in 1979. And in response, it looks like you haven't been able to locate documents that have now been labeled CSU 001 through CSU 007. And so we'll show those documents of Mr. Tinubu. Sorry, that shows those documents of Mr. Tinubu. So the question now is, amending what has been marked as Exhibit 4. Also, this is the question rather, are diplomas that CSU produced yesterday in response to the number 1. So Mr. A's Cotton, Angela, the exhibit goes beyond the one in number 1. Would like to note for the record that the exhibit 4 knows from the SCS1 to CSU 12 rather, and then the response to the 1 is referencing 1 through 7, like 1 through 7. So here is Miss Liu. That is correct. I'm handing you diploma that the Chicago State University produced in response to request number 1. And the CSU have produced some other documents in the response to request number 1. And are they true and correct copies of the Chicago State University diploma? Mr. Westberg, yes. Miss Liu, and what is the basis for that? Mr. Westberg, we have them in our possession. We produced these documents. They align with the student record and the official transcripts. Miss Liu, and are these documents maintained in the physical copy form? Mr. Westberg, we have those physically. Miss Liu, and you don't have these documents electronically. Mr. Westberg, correct. Miss Liu, and how did you determine that the diplomas from 1979, which are Chicago State University, dates, stamped, CSU1. How did you determine that these were issued by Chicago State University in 1979? Mr. Westberg, because they said they were. Miss Liu, any other reason? Mr. Westberg, no. Miss Liu, and where were they found? Mr. Westberg, in our record room. Miss Liu, where is the record room? Mr. Westberg, Cook Administration Building, Building 128. Miss Liu, and if you don't have the record in the electronic form, what is the put off for keeping documents manually? What could be the reason for keeping documents manually? Mr. Westberg, could you rephrase that? Miss Liu, so you said that these documents are not in electronic form, correct? Mr. Westberg, correct. Miss Liu, so what is the date cutoff for keeping the records manually rather than digitally? Mr. Westberg, are you asking when did we start tracking documents digitally? Miss Liu, yes. Mr. Westberg, we moved to electronic banner in 1996. Miss Liu, and that is a software. Mr. Westberg, something like Stupid Information Center, sort of electronic banner, that may not be the right thing they said there, okay, but let's go to the next one. Miss Liu, and once again, what date was that? Mr. Westberg, 1996. Miss Liu, and so documents prior to 1996, you would not have electronic forms. Mr. Westberg, correct. Miss Liu, and for the diplomas in 1996, you have those stored in electronic form. Mr. Westberg, no. Miss Liu, so at what point do you store diplomas in the electronic forms? Mr. Westberg, we do not ever. Miss Liu, and did you, I guess, why were those records available? Mr. Westberg, why not able to, will not be able to determine that? The speculation I have is that they were never picked up. Miss Liu, so you did not find Mr. Tinubu's diploma that was issued in 1979. Mr. Westberg, correct. Miss Liu, and turning to CSU 0001 through 0007, these diplomas have dates in the 1979, correct? Mr. Westberg, correct. Miss Liu, and turning to and they all have seal with the class B and with a clasp and. Remember those documents I showed you yesterday, clasped hands. That's the question. Mr. Westberg, correct. Miss Liu, they all have the same 5 signatures, correct? Mr. Westberg, correct. Miss Liu, and it looks like one of the signatures, it is from the chairman of Board of Governors, Leon Davis. Mr. Westberg, correct. Miss Liu, and another signature from Donald E. Walters, secretary, correct? Mr. Westberg, it appears so, yes. Miss Liu. And then Benjamin, Alexander, president, correct? Mr. Westberg, it appears, correct. Miss Liu, looks like a Dean Lear, Andrew F. Scholar, something like that. Okay, Miss Liu, but look like Andrew, who was a dean. Yes. Mr. Westberg, yes. Miss Liu, and a signature for a registrar, James J. Mr. Westberg, yes. Miss Liu, I would note that the dean is going to be different on those because some of them are different colleges. Mr. Westberg. So, hang on, the question continues. So, this, we are looking at CSU 001 Diploma. Is the Andrew because is the Dean of Business and Administration. Mr. Westberg, yes. Miss Liu. And is your understanding that the reason why the Board of Governors is listed on the diploma because there is no Board of Trustees in 1979? Mr. Westberg, that is correct. Miss Liu. And it is pretty, it is preschool that the registrar used to be on the diploma in 1979. Mr. Westberg, that is correct. Rather, let me rephrase that. She asked, and it is pretty, it's preschool also that the registrar used to be on the diploma in 1979 as well. Mr. Westberg, sure. Miss Liu, let's turn to CSU 8 through 10. Now, these diplomas were issued by CSU in 90s, correct? Mr. Westberg, that is correct. Miss Liu, and how do you know when they were issued? Mr. Westberg, they said the year they were issued. Miss Liu, and you say that because each document states when the diploma is granted. Mr. Westberg, correct. Miss Liu, and each of these each of those dates are in the 90s. Mr. Westberg, correct. Miss Liu, could any of these diploma considered drafts or example? Mr. Westberg, I'm not sure what the word exemplar means, but none of those would be drafts. Miss Liu, how do you know that? Mr. Westberg, because these are original diplomas we had on file. Miss Liu, and how can you be sure that they are original? Mr. Westberg, they are in they are in our possession and have never left our possession. Miss Liu, and why does CSU maintain copies of those diplomas and not others? Mr. Westberg, as I mentioned before, we believe the students did not pick them up. Miss Liu, and looking at these diplomas on the left-hand side, you will see a signature from the chair of the board, correct? Mr. Westberg, correct. Miss Liu, do you know who that is? Mr. Westberg, a little hard to read the signature, to be honest. Miss Liu. And then on the right, it looks like Eleonora D. Daniel signs the diploma. Mr. Westberg, yes. Miss Liu. And she is the president in the 90s. Mr. Westberg, I believe so. Miss Liu. And under that signature, Albert Nolly, science as the dean of the university. Mr. Westberg, as dean of the college, with a question mark, like asking Miss Liu that, do you mean as dean of the college? Then Miss Liu repeated it and said, and we know is dean of the College of Business because there is a dean at the bottom of the page here. Mr. Westberg, correct. Miss Liu. And the seal on the diploma, the seal is a triangle with two lines through, correct? Mr. Westberg, that is correct. Miss Liu. And the seal has the verbiage 1867 under it. Mr. Westberg, that is correct. It's true. Miss Liu. And it has Chicago State University on top of the seal, correct? Mr. Westberg, yes. They are talking about the fake one, Tinubu presented in Nigeria now. That is what they are describing, signed by Eleonora, or what have you, Eleonora Daniel. So, let's continue. And this, and this seal is different than those that were conferred in the date stamps of CSU 1 through to CSU 7, correct? Mr. Westberg, yes. Miss Liu, when did the seal change? Mr. Westberg, I'm not certain. Some point between 1979 and 90s. Mr. Westberg, you think it changed in the 90s? Miss Liu asked, you think it changed in the 90s? Mr. Westberg, possibly. Miss Liu, and if you look at CSU 8 and then CSU 9, it looks like the font is a little different between the two. Do you see that? Mr. Westberg, I don't see a difference, to be honest. Miss Liu, if you look at the AD before 1989 and the AD 1998, Mr. Westberg, okay. Miss Liu, do they look slightly different to you? Mr. Westberg, necessary are scanned. There are necessary scanned copies, and it is entirely possible that the difference is due to the Xerox machine. Great. So, Miss Liu, and if you go to dates, the stamp on the CSU 11 and 12, these are two diplomas from 2003. Mr. Westberg, correct. And they have two signatures on those diplomas. Mr. Westberg, yes. Miss Liu. And one from, Luban, the chairperson, and the other, Eleonora D. Daniel, president of the university, correct? Mr. Westberg, correct. So, Miss Liu. And Dr. Lubin was the chairperson in 2003? Mr. Westberg, yes. So Dr. Lubin was Dr. Lubin, the chairman in 2022. Mr. Westberg, I do not know that off the top of my head. Miss Liu. And Eleonora Daniel, the president in the 2003 with a question mark. Mr. Westberg, yes. And you see the seal, this is Miss Liu now, on these diplomas from 2003 are seals with a tree on them. So Mr. Westberg, Yes, Miss Liu. And that seal is different from the previous set of diplomas? Mr. Westberg, that is correct. So, Miss Liu, so when did the seal change then? Mr. Westberg, at some point between 1999 and 2003. Okay, Mr. Liu, and you don't know which date? Mr. Westberg, no, I'm not certain. Miss Liu, is the seal same today? Mr. Westberg, no. Miss Liu, and what is the seal now? Mr. Westberg, our current seal, it's a book, but it looks like it looks a little like a tree. Mr. Westberg, and when did that change? Sorry, Miss Liu, rather, when did that change? Mr. Westberg answered, I don't know for certain. I believe that was at some point in the, year 2000s. That was when their logo changed. So, Miss Liu, and going back to the Exhibit 3, you look at the request number 2. The request is a true and correct copy of any diploma issued by the Chicago State University in the 1979 to Mr. Tinubu. Do you see that? Mr. Westberg, I do. Miss Liu, and CSU has determined that it does not have a tree and correct copy to Bola Tinubu in 1979. Mr. Westberg, this is the crucial part now. If you have been listening all this while, this is the crucial part now, okay? Where Chicago State University outrightly denied ever issuing any certificates to this Tinubu. Having first making sure that they describe the changes that happened to their logo when they happened, the changes to their president when they were there, and all of those changes that happened in Chicago State University during the years, and why they have the copies of other students' certificates, but they don't have that of Tinubu. In a way, keep listening. This is the interesting part now, all right? This is it. Oluwole certificate of Tinubu. This is the interesting part of the whole thing now. So give me a second. So why do you have hang on, no, let me bring that back a bit. Let's go back a bit. Just a moment. This is where they don't want to implicate themselves. So let's go back a bit. We have identification. Okay. Hang on. Have we gone that far, by the way? Seems like... sorry, give me a sec. Brilliant. From Dr. Lubin and then Roy. So having described all of their, what do you call it? That they didn't give Tinubu any certificate. This is the question. So I'm going back to the Exhibit 3. You look at the request number 2. The request is a true and correct copy of the diploma issued by the Chicago State University in 1979 to Mr. Tinubu. Do you see that? Mr. Westberg, I do. Miss Liu. And Chicago State University has determined that it does not have a true and correct copy of Bola Tinubu in 1979. Mr. Westberg responded, that is correct. We don't have the true copy of his certificate. Miss Liu. And how did the Chicago State University determine that it did not have a true and correct copy of this? Mr. Westberg, we went through every diploma in our possession. Miss Liu, and you went through every diploma in your possession, given the importance of this matter. Mr. Westberg, yes. Miss Liu. And so Chicago State University, after going through every diploma was unable to find an authentic copy of any diploma issued to Tinubu in 1979. Mr. Westberg answered, "We did not find any diploma issued by 1979 to Mr. Tinubu." Miss Liu, but you retained copies of the diplomas of some and not others. Hang on, let me rephrase. She asked, but you retained copies of some diplomas of some and not others? Mr. Westberg, when we have a copy of the diploma, it is because a student didn't pick it up. Miss Liu, and you don't have a copy of the Mr. Tinubu's June 22, 1979 diploma, or is June 27, 1979 diploma correct? Mr. Westberg, we have the June 27, 1979 diploma. It is in our possession. Miss Liu, the original June 27, 1979 diploma is in your possession. So, is it a reordered copy? Mr. Westberg, the one that you have, the one that we have, it is one in your exhibit, Miss Liu. And the recorded copy is a recreated copy that Chicago State University recreated with a question mark. Mr. Westberg, it is a diploma reorder that matches what we have in Chicago State University, 1 and 12. Miss Liu, and why did you not produce the June 27 diploma yesterday? Mr. Westberg, my impression was that you already had that. Then Mr. Ace, Cotton, which request do you think it is responding to, sort of responsive to? I don't read it as being requested yesterday. So this is where Chicago State University is saying, oh yeah, we released every document, but we didn't release the copy of that certificate of 1979, June 27, because we thought you have it. Then the lawyer cut in and said, oh, but you didn't ask for it. Oh, so you have one. Let's continue. Deposition continues. Oh. So he said, my impression was that you already have that. So here is Miss Liu. True and correct. Copy of any diploma for a Bachelor of Science degree issued by the Chicago State University in 1979. Mr. Ace, please ask the witness. But the June 27 diploma was not issued by Chicago State University in 1979. We all know that. That's what Mr. Ace said. So back to the witness. Mr. Westberg, he also cut in. What he says is correct. So Miss Liu, and she was a June 27, 1979 diploma in, was the June 27, 1979 diploma in Mr. Tinubu's file at Chicago State University? Mr. Westberg, we don't keep diploma that is in the student file. That is in the student files. We have a file cabinet that has diplomas. So, Miss Liu, and how long do you keep diplomas? Please let me know at Chicago State University. Mr. Westberg, at present, until students pick them up. So, Miss Liu, so just to backing up, just so I understand it, say someone today graduated from the 1979 and calls the registrar's office. I want a copy of their diploma. You don't have like a template for a degree from the Chicago State University in the 1979 in the registrar's office that you use? Mr. Westberg, correct. they don't have it. So Miss Liu, and that person requesting a copy from 1979, department received a copy of the diploma from 1979, correct? Mr. Westberg, correct. Miss Liu, diploma, Mr. Westberg. Let's go to tab 4. Sorry, no, Miss Liu said, let's go to tab 4. And she continued. Before I hand you another document, I believe you testified that you produced the entire student file. Mr. Westberg, correct. I am Miss Liu. I dare any other document from the file that have been withheld because you thought they were not responsive. Mr. Westberg, no. Miss Liu, only the June 27th, please. Let me know that, correct? Mr. A is cutting. I object. As he testified before, that diploma is not part of the Mr. Tinubu file. When you say other documents withheld from the file, that is not accurate. Mr. Westberg answers the question if you can. So, Ms. Liu, I kindly ask counsel from making speaking objections and improperly coaching the witness. So the witness now, Mr. Westberg, answered. What was the question again? Mr. Ace objected. I objected the form of the question. So Mr. Westberg answered, no. Then Ms. Liu continues. But you did with, you did located the June 27th. Please, let me know because you thought it was not responsive. Then Mr. Anderson, cutting, objection. Mischaracterizes this testimony, cutting and cut that, because that's where they want to be sure that, listen, this document Tinubu is parading in Nigeria, we want you to say you gave it to him or you did not give it to him. Oh yeah, we are getting to that part now, okay? So, he said, but you did, hang on. It was like the witness now responded after that. Same objection. Mr. Anderson, we did not provide that yesterday. Miss Liu, no, I'm going to hand you another document. Okay? So, document 5. And then she followed it with this. I am going to hand you what is marked as Exhibit 5, entitled undergrad rate. Please let me know that order replace that placement form. And this is the form that is posted on the CSU website for an undergrad order or replacement form. So Mr. Westberg responded. Sorry, somebody was asking for the transcript. Of course, you can see the transcript. It's meant to be downloaded and all that, okay? I'm getting to a part where I'm going to sort of round it, okay? I don't know. It's been a long reading, isn't it? 90 minutes. I told you that's what we are doing tonight. We are reading the transcript to that part where Tinubu and his lawyers or so are doing everything. They were doing everything to make sure this never happened. The irreparable damage is never done. But it's always going to be so boring sometimes, okay? But let's round it up, okay? Now, let's go to that part where the question goes thus, right? And how far back in time do this record there go? Talking about the presented exhibit, okay? And it was like, do you have record from the every student in the 70? Mr. Westberg responded, if they were, if they are students with us, we keep a student file on them. So, and how far back do you keep, the records go? I have seen record as early as the 30s. So, Ms. Liu, does CSU have a policy or practice after how long they keep the student record? So, Mr. Westberg responded, we keep the student record into perpetuity. Okay? So, there is another part. Do you keep any record of when former students asked for the diplomas? That's asked for their certificates. Mr. Westberg, no. Ms. Liu, did you have any record of when Mr. Tinubu asked for the diploma? Mr. Westberg, no. Miss Liu, why don't you keep a record? Mr. Westberg, it is not consequential to the student file. And how many questions, then Miss Liu, and how many questions for the diploma do you get typically in a month? Mr. Westberg, one. If one, maybe none. Miss Liu, it is pretty typical if someone requests a replacement, diploma, please let me know. Mr. Westberg, it could be a handful in a, this is not a common. It is not that common. Miss Liu, and do you always verify that someone went to the university before, ordering a replacement diploma? Mr. Westberg, yes. And by what mean, Miss Liu, by what mean do you do this? If we talk about a student who attended 40 years ago, so Mr. Anderson got in, asked and answered. So Mr. Westberg, I do answer this. We would look up their record. So Miss Liu, Mr. Anderson got in. On Exhibit 5, at the top of the page, please note, we only keep on the file diploma up to 2 years. Please let me know you are correct. So then Mr. Anderson answered, you are correct. So Miss Liu continued. If someone graduated in the 2021 and asked for the copy of their diploma from Chicago State University, they will receive a copy, correct? Mr. Anderson, I will provide a diploma, hang on. I would provide a diploma if we had in our possession. If not, I will place another. So, Miss Liu, or if someone graduated from the Chicago State University in the 1979, you don't have a copy of that 1979 diploma? Mr. Anderson cuts in again. Objection, asked and answered. So, Mr. Westberg continued and said, the only event that we have a copy is if a student didn't pick it up. So, Miss Liu, so do you keep documents that were reordered only if they are not picked up? Correct. So, Miss Liu, why do you have the June 27 copy of the diploma in your files? So, Mr. Anderson said, Mr. Westberg said, while the university know that for certain, my speculation was not picked up. Now, here, because of our time, for those who are asking for the copy, I'll drop the copy in your comments because I didn't know that we've actually expended so much time. We've been here for like over nearly 100 and 90 minutes, rather 98 minutes, because I'm still going to talk about a few other things too, right? But the bottom line is that in the process of a deposition, it was proven that the certificate Tinubu presented in Nigeria, this particular one, is fake. Chicago State University did not issue this certificate. In fact, right there in their own hand, among the documents they have now presented to Atiku's lawyers, there is actually a copy of a Tinubu that graduated from Chicago State University in 1979, a diploma issued, okay? Diploma certificate issued. They have given that copy to Atiku's lawyer. And what they said is that the only reason why they always have copies of the certificate of their students is only when they don't pick them up. There is no record that Tinubu asked for replacement like he claimed in Nigeria. They requested for a replacement in 1997. He claimed to have requested for a replacement, and what they gave to him was this: the person, Elnora, that is the president of the university, signed, whose signature appears on this certificate. She did not become the president of the university until 1998. So now there is a copy of Bola Tinubu's diploma certificate that they have now given to Atiku. And according to them, it is because the real owner did not pick it up. So who is Tinubu? Who gave him? We know he's been completely exposed now that 44 years of lies, 44 years of identity theft. Tinubu could have easily requested for his certificate, the one that they have now given to Atiku. They presented during the deposition yesterday, the original certificate of the Tinubu that attended Chicago State University. Tinubu did not request for one because he didn't go to that school. Tinubu chose to go and forge his certificate that he presented to INEC in Nigeria because he is not the real student. But he got the Chicago State University to play along. You see this case now, it is now going to go beyond just whatever Atiku is bringing to you in Nigeria and your Supreme Court. There are going to be heads that will now roll, even in Chicago State University. In the deposition, it showed that there were some people internally within the Chicago State University. They worked overtime to help Tinubu smuggle some fraudulent, manipulative documents into the university. But at the end of the day, they still never really match. The same people that is currently paying millions of dollars to stop this irreparable damage or damages, which has now happened anyway. The damages is already done. Abi? So the people is paying all of that money. All it takes, would you believe this, ladies and gentlemen? It only requires just $34 to get your certificate replacement from Chicago State University. $34. Not $100,000, not millions of dollars, not running from one courthouse to another, not running from one judge to another, trying to stop them from releasing your whatever. So right now, from that deposition, I told you it's so long, it's about 200 pages. If you are opening it as a book, it's like 200 pages, 218 pages. And it is pretty much like, it's not yet approved. They haven't proofread it. So you won't be able to read and enjoy it. But I'm glad that I got to that part where they confirmed that the certificate Tinubu is presenting and parading for the past 44 years is fake, forged. So what does that mean in Nigeria? The Tinubu in Nigeria currently are responding. And in one of their responses, look at this man that young people were looking up to. A lot of us grew up hoping to become like Wole Soyinka, a literary icon, somebody who inspired generations. But look at him at his old age. They are defending a drug dealer. They are defending somebody who no go school at all. They are defending a certificate forger. They are now gaslighting the people. A lot of them are speaking up right now. And all they are saying right now is that, fine, even if he forged these certificates, it's just pure waste of time. And they are working day and night right now, telling Nigerians that don't listen to them. Chicago State University said he came to their school. He attended their school. Everything is fine, even though it was a girl. All of that one are just nothing. Listen to this one, somebody who used to work in the Voice of Nigeria. In Nigeria, listen to his own, what have you here?
What you are saying, and I'm happy you talk about investors, what you are saying is that, is it not a shame that investors will look and say the president of Nigeria has certificate problem? Is it not a shame that the world is reporting? You are the head of Voice of Nigeria, so amplify the interests of Nigeria. Have you been reporting this? I'd like to ask you first, to your foreign audience. It's not a thing of a shame And is that not supposed to be the bulk of the conversation rather than matters that people will judge you to be a meddlesome interloper for? And let me get the facts right for you. Atiku Abubakar said before the elections that if the PDP zones to the southeast, he will not run. But it was never the case. There were other political actors, so that's not even the issue. Let's talk about this certificate issue. Let me show you something. Daily Trust newspaper, front page. It said birthday mismatch. There were 3 different birthdays of the president. 3 different. So what's even his date of birth? 1952, 1954, 1955. Isn't that enough to talk that we don't even know the date of birth? Gender error? Female or male? What's the gender? Unanswered questions, and also the events at the deposition. I think those are the substantive issues here. Those are the issues that are preventing investors from coming. I would like to have your take on that, because those are the great issues on ground. As the DG of the Voice of Nigeria, that you project Nigeria's image. Let's talk about that, sir. Analyze for us. Why will somebody have 3 different dates of birth? Probably, do you have 3 yourself?
I will be the happiest person that will have a purity situation in our system. And I know, going through the course of history of liberal democracy, that will happen. If it doesn't happen today, it will not prevent tomorrow. The point of the matter is that there are rules. The same PDP failed in their own way. That's what I'm referring to. That we cannot burn down the house because of the unfirst error of the leadership of the PDP. I'm not trying to defend any irregularity.
But talk about the irregularity. You're shying away from it, sir. Talk about the irregularity, because that's the substantive matter in this story. Talk about the irregularity. You're shying away from it. Is it good for somebody to have 3 dates of birth?
My brother.
My brother.
My brother.
Yes, sir.
My brother.
Yes, sir.
Can I tell you something?
Bless you, sir.
Please,
go ahead, sir.
Leave emotion out of it.
Okay.
Why do we have the Presidential Election Petition Court? And they said if you lose there, you can go to the Supreme Court. In the next 1 or 2 weeks or 1 month or 3, my Lord Justices will do a justice to the matter presented to them. But I'm saying before then, let us not forget, we are PDP on their own.
But leaving emotion aside, sir, is what you are doing now, is it not the role of a meddlesome? Is it not the role of a meddlesome interloper? Because, sir, are you a member of the PDP? No. The substantive matter on ground is this discrepancy that we discovered in America. Now you are saying it's because of what the PDP did. That election have been won and lost. Let's talk about the issues.
If I might cast your mind back, you might not be there. I've lived in this country to see how this mismanagement of political parties impacted in all of us, both members and non-members. It happened in '83. There were this kind of clamor. When the ruling party then, the MPN, were trying to capture here and capture there. I remember late Okadibo, he was an advisor to Shagari. And he said one of his friends advised him and said, why do you want to capture Southwest, capture Southeast? That Shagari could win the election seamlessly. Why go ahead to be desperate? Oyi pleaded with Shagari, and the professor was invited from London School of Economics, and he came and addressed the MPN caucus in the then chairman of the MPN, A.M. Akiloye's house, and told them that Shagari will win by a slim margin, and that victory should be okay for the MPN. Don't go and overdrive. That if you overdrive, the democracy will disappear. My brother, there's wind of anti-democratic headwind and storm in our sub-region that we need to collectively move on and get to. We will get there, but we cannot get there by overheating our polity and keeping us on ease. I'm not saying that I'm defending President Tinubu and his certificates. We know Tinubu. Tinubu knows us. We know Atiku.
Okay.
There's none of us here who said there was no question about Tinubu's certificate back years. But luckily for him, in our party, there were 23 presidential aspirants, and he scaled.
You see the caliber of people who are speaking to Nigerians, supposedly elderly people. Sure, you get. Did you see how he avoided that conversation entirely? Trying to bring a PDP, Shagari in 1980, and all of that. It's all deliberate. Those are the type of people. They said, but we know Tinubu now, and we know Atiku. Shebi Atiku self, is also a criminal now. Shebi Atiku is saintini. How come it is now Atiku that will now come and tell you about Tinubu and you'll be taking him serious? Let us just move on. The Supreme Court is going to decide on it and all of that. They don't want to talk about it. Off camera, they know this truth though. But because of waiting then they chop and waiting they won't chop. That is why today they will all leave this and they will begin to attack you and say, you are talking too much. Don't create problem in this country. Let us leave the certificate. Should everybody know Tinubu before now? Is it now that Kiniko is all deliberate? They did it for Bokwari. We're debating Bokwari. The difference is that Bokwari, that one, na WAEC, Nigeria WAEC. If to say Chicago State University, na LASU, you no go hear all this noise. Forget it. Bokwari, we be say when Bokwari was supposed to have sat for WAEC or whatever it's called then, there's nothing called WAEC. Omo, then bring WAEC results with 90 years old Bokwari with all that board head. Now WAEC office, the WAEC director came to Aso Rock to deliver it to Bokwari. Person will no go school. They brought his certificate, brought everything, they built everything for him. See how they were laughing. It was like Bokwari received his PhD from Harvard that was lost for a long time. Now F9 parallel WAEC result then put for Mega Dando. See, this is where the madness started from in Nigeria. In case all of you are wondering that Nigeria have illiterates, criminals, who are leading them, people will not go school, will not go anything. This Bokwari will not go school at all. See, can you see the picture of the candidate? Now Bokwari be that to see the skull. You see the skull? They had to make one for him. They said Bokwari was a brilliant student. Very, very brilliant student. So when they now brought his result, look at his appointees, people he appointed. You see that one where they open mouth like, what did they call him? Impala. I be waiting be that smoker where they make in 80s, It don't really be Ogufe. This is where they laugh like Ogufe on the right. Now that one, they clear road, they clean seat for Bokwari everywhere he goes, right? See all of them. Look at all of these ones. So they all have certificates. They probably went to school. But a megad that appointed them. See the drama. That is what they are planning to do for Tinubu as well. When he came to London, similar question was asked. I don't know if you remember this.
My record is consistent. And the school and the university, they question. They now confess that they wasted their money and their time. The record is there. The transcript is there. So in March 1952, I'm not claiming another father. I am Tinubu and Tinubu proper. If they want a DNA, they could as well require for one. One of them has been even accused of not being a Nigerian citizen. I didn't touch that area. equally, it remains the same. Deloitte, Chicago State University, where I graduated, has attested to that. Now I can announce that I've received my original replacement degree certificate from them. The Deloitte trained me as an accounting firm. Mobile has attested to my record, a standing record. And
nuisance lele. Nuisance lele.
Do you understand? That was Kolu in December 2022, Chatham House in London. Now today, Chicago State University has come out to say, no. You see that transcript I was reading to you, it got to a stage. They were describing the Tinubu certificate to INEC. It was a bombshell. I should have taken you to that part, but I didn't know I've spent so much time reading for over 90 minutes, so I had to cut it. It got to a stage where Caleb Westbag agreed that Tinubu forged that certificate they gave to INEC. It's not from them. And then they now said, but it is a Nigerian thing now. Nigerians always forge. They said it is a Nigerian thing to forge the stamps, seal, and documents of institutions in America. They said that inside that court. That was when they sealed it. Tinubu hasn't said anything since this whole thing started. But I can bet it, Abi. The Agbadomite and the rest of them, those ones maybe say their mind no go touch ground. You know that. Some of them first ran into the hole until their slave master started telling them that, oh, the university said he attended. The issue of whether a male or female is not issue. Let us forget it. Go and tackle them. Tell them that Peter Obi should present his certificate. Tell them that Atiku Sef should present his certificate. Baba, listen to me. When you say when you say Atiku no go school, if you see where Atiku submitted fake school certificates, you have to do the same thing where Atiku they do right now. Okay? No chop, no bite me. No be me started your frustration. Tinubu said he went to school. Atiku said he didn't. Una go tell her when we say this one no go school, they say so why don't you go and go to the school and verify? Should be easy for you as she is to tell people to go to the school. Now go to Chicago State University. If you say that one are fake, go there, go and collect original. Mayegun, if it is saying fake, why don't you go to Chicago State University and collect the original? I don't need to go to Chicago State University. Atiku don't go. If you know that Peter Obi submitted the fake result credentials, go to his own school too. Do what Atiku they do. Don't come here and begin to use an excuse of all of them too. They forged their certificate. I keep telling you. And I will never stop reminding you. You and your whataboutism. What about that one? What about that one? Mayegun, let us be fair. What about Obi? What about him? If you give like Atiku they do right now, if you do the same thing for Obi, if you do the same thing for Atiku, Mayegun will open the show like this. I go break them down for everybody because Nigeria is successful of where your leaders, your criminal leaders are certificate forgers. But there is more to that. There is more to what they are doing. But before I go into the effect of all of this that are already happening, right? The Wazobia FM Tunde Dizu. Listen to this.
Punch newspaper page 8. Chicago Varsity releases Tinubu's records to Atiku.
You know why I'm laughing?
Why?
I was up and I mean it. Even my guest I was supposed to have this morning, I still spoke to him, sent him a message at 1, and then I sent him another message at 4, and then we got another message at 7. Then the bus now bubbled when we were about to getting ready to come to the studio that all we can talk about now is that the papers have been handed over to Atiku. What Atiku has in his hands, only Atiku can tell us. Why I say so is that you needed, why I'm laughing at myself is you needed to see me running between Twitter and all kinds of, the man, in his form, was female. Is he a he, is he a she, and so on and so forth. We will hold our gunpowder until Atiku tells us
What is God?
what is God, because there's so much fake news going all over.
Right.
But there is something amiss. Like we said last week, somebody wouldn't be going to court to stop you from, if you like, self, I will give you myself, I'll get you a true, certified true copy by myself and give it to you. You know, because I don't like any death, you know. So if you tell me, Jimmy, you are not qualified to do the job you are doing, before you finish it, I won't be looking for friends who will tell me they went to school with me. That one will happen on his own. It's a mess that we have on our hands, but we cannot, as far as this story goes, we can't do much until Mr. Abubakar Atiku tells us what was given to his lawyers. And so we will have to be patient. We can't go by news in the social media, unfortunately. It's not that I don't believe some of the news in the social media, because I know that there's no smoke without fire. But I'm just hoping that when everything is finally released, everybody involved would A, put the nation first, B, do the honorable thing, even if that's the only thing any one of them have done in their lives. Remember what President Jonathan said, that it's not worth, and today is an honorable man, he's free to go everywhere. That it's not worth, the same thing is not worth bringing down a country.
No, it's not.
If your ambition is threatened.
It's not.
And I repeat, that goes to everybody.
It's not. Nobody's ambition.
Nobody's ambition. And also, if we know that we want to move forward in this country from this suffer way we did inside, we should not have any form of we should not embrace any form of criminality, because it has to start from somewhere. But when we get to that bridge and we know what it is in that document, I think it's bad enough that anybody is accused of so many things I'm saying. But then again, one has to be careful. I know what you're saying. What more do you need?
He's trying not to drop it. He's holding back, but at the same time, it's pretty much like a ball. If the whole world now knows that you're president, no matter the narrative they give you in Nigeria, do you understand? Whatever they'd like to say to you, whatever they like, let them continue to say to you in Nigeria. Don't listen to them. They are just enemy this or that. The consequences, it's not consequences, consequences of this will be so devastating. It's already starting, where everyone who is from Nigeria will now be officially identified as somebody who probably have something dubious doing something that if you shake that Nigerian, something will drop illegally. So we would then have to be subjected to that profiling again. The rest of the world knows. They do. And people are now asking that the best thing for Atiku to do right now, is for him to call for world conference. If truly he has his own party with him, call for national protests until the Supreme Court and the judiciary in Nigeria would have to ask Tinubu to honorably resign, or he will be removed, arrested, and tried. I know. Imagination no go kill me. I said what people are saying. It's not me. Okay? I know, say, it sounded like too much imagination. Vivid imagination. Companies are use imagination. But however, people are asking Atiku to come out and tell the whole world what they gave him. So around that time, you can then know if Nigerians have been conquered or not. You see, there are two things that somehow I have been thinking, and I think I should share that with you. I don't know if you are thinking that same thing, but maybe I can get you to start thinking it. Most of what you are reading today about Tinubu and all of that, they are mostly not so new. All thanks to social media that has given access to more audience, millions of audience all over the world that these guys cannot reach or control. Do you understand that now? However, I believe that this generation of young people who are coming across all of this new stuff about Tinubu, they are new to them. And let us all kind of not pretend, though. Every time people will come here to remind me, Dr. Agbede, I know if I open the line tonight, Dr. Agbede will have a message for me, a message for all of us. You, this Mayegun, all you do is talk. My yansh is out now. What you do is talk. I appreciate that when you keep reminding us that we are still talking. But there is something I want to remind all of you, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. And that is, because of platforms like this, and many platforms like this, on social media and even offline, you can tell that more Nigerians are now politically conscious than any generation, so to say. Yeah, you know, you might think people are stupid. They are so dumb. They are not waking up and all of that stuff. I want you to please calm down. Today, you have young people, even not so young people, who are now, based on their own understanding and available information, the available information to them, they have now been able to question everything they've been told. In the process, they are now challenging them. You might think they have not coordinated themselves to actually, bring the entire system down, but they can do it and they will do it. Every day, tons of information are dropping on their laps. So many of them, they have no idea what to do with them, but they are not ignorant. They are not ignorant. And the reason why today, you can see that the establishment in Nigeria, they hate social media so much. Even when they also peddle their propaganda on the same social media, it is not winning. You know why? Because young people have access to real information. People now have access. You see, people will call in and say, you know, politically, I wasn't this politically conscious about Nigeria. I never really mind. I never really cared. But having watching Mayegun and listening to other platforms like this, you know, my mind have always been racing. I've been questioning a lot of things, and I want things to be different. So it is a revolution that is already ongoing. But because they never naked them, dragged Tinubu for street, Bodilon street, all of them policemen, everybody don't run away. You know what I mean? Like, because you haven't seen that, it's making every one of us to feel like we are just talking. These guys are so scared of social media. You have no idea. They believe their money got them everything. But today, whether you want to say some people are still stupid, you are saying they are stupid because you are now somebody who knows better. There are many of us that a few years back, we were like those stupid people we call stupid today. How many of you have kind of will look back and say, man, I wish I never actually did all I did for these people when, 5 years, 10 years ago, I was so stupid. I was so ignorant. But because you know better today, you are angry. And you are calling others who have no idea. So with time, they too will know, more people will know, because you can really easily see the tension in them. They are worried. So it's a step by step. You may not acknowledge it, it's okay. But me, Mayegun, I have been doing this for 10 years. And that is me just being like, giving you a decade of it. 11 years to be precise. I have been doing this for 11 years. I have been attacked directly by the same people who are victims of bad leadership in Nigeria. The victims of all of these criminals for 10 years. A lot of them who today, a lot of you watching me today and say, I love this guy, I love Mayegun. You didn't love me from the beginning. I was irritant from the beginning, remember? Because you were somewhere then. Now, a lot of us have known better. Now, you probably will look back to things you defended about Nigeria 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even a year ago, that today, you are one of those who are now condemning those things. So that is improvement. That is growth. Thanks to all of these platforms like this, the ones that continue to keep your sanity. You know, when you sit down and you feel like, am I mad, Inisha? Am I going crazy? Like, what is all of this? I mean, I don't even understand this. Platforms like Mayegun's Diary Political will continue to put you on the track so that you will never, ever be vulnerable or susceptible to their fraudulent manipulation. And the number is growing. Go everywhere. During that election, as they were promoting tribal, religious, Emilokan, the people from the eastern part of Nigeria, as they were promoting those divisions, young people from the north to the south to the west to the east, or young people, they were all on on TikTok, demystifying all of these demigods, because they now know better. They may be young, they may not be able to vote in most of the election yet, but they now know better. Go and see all the videos they make about Tifnumbu, because they now know better. They know what is wrong with them. With the information available to them, these cretins, these criminals, this whole fiefdom of these criminals is not going to last. It is a crumbling empire. Tifnumbu may be their last kaba. He may struggle enough that they will still keep him, but I promise you this. The rotten establishment in Nigeria is a collapsing empire. And they were fighting their last battle. As you are fighting for your lives, they are fighting for their lives too. And they will throw everything at it with the right information, right orientation, right motivation. Young people will overrun these people and their supporters. Do you understand? So if you see any of them still defending them right now, you stay on track. They will soon join you. And they will join you, and they will be more angrier than you when they will go after their criminal leaders. It's a matter of time. And again, it is an opportunity for the Nigerian judiciary to, at the same time, save themselves. But we are just being too nice. Nigerian judiciary save themselves. Are you joking? How could they save themselves from what they are the product of? So, of course, they have already started issuing warning. Nigerian Supreme Court has issued warning to all of you that you think if you are intimidating us on social media, that is how we are going to now give judgment to Atiku or Obi. You can go to everywhere all over the world for your evidence. Okay? The bottom line is that we are not intimidated. We don't give a damn about that. We will give our ruling and nothing is going to happen. And that is where people are now saying that, like Peter Obi, like Atiku, Peter Obi knows that if Peter Obi, decided to just call a world conference and said, obedient Nigerians, at this point, your destiny and your future is in your hands. Okay? Take back your country. It won't last for 1 hour. Everywhere go red. Obi knows that. But he chose this avenue of, let us do the real process. Because Obi knows, if they don't, if he doesn't follow that particular process, which is to protect the elite and whatever they have, by the time all of you go out now, you will not go even know which one is Obi's investment, Obi's business, Obi's interest. By the time you are done, even Obi go collect. And his friends and his associates and everybody go collect because they are the elite. It's going to be a campaign of eat the rich, eat the rich. Since the poor have nothing else to eat anymore. They say what a day is coming that the poor will have nothing to eat, but the rich people. So Obi, that is the leader, he will go collect, and he go collect massively, Goni. And it is the same thing for Atiku. Atiku and Obasanjo ran Nigeria in such a way that, in fact, today people look back and say Atiku and Obasanjo time is still the best in Nigeria, but it was also the time that a government that destroyed education in Nigeria. Obasanjo and Atiku destroyed education when they had the chance of fixing it once and for all. When they came out of the asshole rock, Atiku had, built himself American, he call it APTI, American British University. That is exactly what Atiku built, a private university. Obasanjo also went on to go and build himself another private university, Bell's University, Bell's schools. While they provide education for the richest students, their friends' children, you know what I mean? The education sector in Nigeria continues to go down the drain. So Atiku knows if he called the World Press Conference tomorrow and release all they have on Tinubu and ask his own party men and his party supporter elected and all of them to begin to occupy all the institutions in Nigeria and demand for Tinubu to resign, like you will see opposition in other parts of the world. Now, only in Nigeria, you go to see opposition. Opposition will be saying na best friends to the ruling party and the ruling people in power. They go, they pretend say that they fight themselves, but they are actually friends. They will say, we don't want to heat up the polity. We don't want to cause it's a lie, because they know that they are not different from the people they are trying to replace. Since they are not different, if all of them start now that time you're gonna go show, say, you self Atiku, we don't like you. You self go collect. You don't call all of us out. So because of that, they will now say the reason why they can't do that is because DSS is going to arrest them. All over the world, the ruling party, when they get provoked, they will arrest their own opposition. It is only in Nigeria. I know that Nigeria oppositions are very scared of being arrested. They are scared of being charged with treason if they try to mobilize their own supporters. But Nigerian opposition, they have millions of supporters. The ones they claim to be fighting for. Don't get me wrong. I know how it is in Nigeria, so don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, the reason why they will not want you to shut down the country because of all of this, that this person cannot continue to tarnish our image. This person cannot continue to turn us, all of us, into a profiling people all over the world. This person, nobody is going to come and invest in Nigeria. Seriously, nobody is coming. I don't know if you have heard. Maybe you know, say they don't cut the power supply to Niger Republic. Nigeria has no refinery that is refining any crude oil. Nothing. You have to import all of your petrol, Abi, and your diesel. And you have already cut off electricity to Niger Republic. Bukwari invested there, he invested over 200 billion naira of your money in Niger Republic, helping them to upgrade their refineries. And their refineries improved from, to 250,000 per liter, 250,000 liters of petrol per day. They have now moved on to over 400,000 liters per petrol. They are one of the major people supplying petrol to Nigeria. The subsidy people they pay subsidy to. Now they've cancelled that contract that none of their oil should be sent to Nigeria anymore. Your shege is loading, and they won't want you to take them up on that because they don't want to be arrested. Atiku doesn't want to be arrested. Possibly Obi doesn't want to be arrested too. And then maybe a lot of you also don't want to be killed. Because Mayegun, you know it now. They will bring out their soldiers now. And they will start killing people. They will start arresting people. You said somebody is trying to make all of us who we are not. And you are there. And those who are probably supposed to be the leaders of millions of people, they don't want to go to prison. They don't want to be charged for treason. You don't want to get shot. And all of us are now waiting for the Supreme Court, Abi, to do the job. Now, here is the point. This is the point. Everything is going to get to that stage whereby there will no longer be Atiku having any leverage to have to motivate or mobilize his own supporters anymore, because they will need money, Abi. Peter Obi will no longer have that leverage as well to mobilize his own supporters anymore. So at the end of the day, you are going to realize that everybody's going to come back to be like, it is now your battle. Share you get. And whatever you do, you are just going to be responsible for it. Others are now asking the National Assembly to do something. And I'm like, are you joking? Are you serious? Nigeria National Assembly to do what? Akpabiole ati Abasi. Remove Tinubu, impeach him. Okay, others are asking him to resign. And I was like, oh, my imagination will go kill all of you. These guys have captured Nigeria. They have captured all your institutions. Nobody is going to stop them. You don't get that. It's only when you realize that if you don't stop them, you will just have to learn how to get used to this. I don't know. You survived the Bokwari. Bokwari we submitted the NEPA bill. It ruined you for straight 8 years. Handed you over to Kolu. And according to them, all of us are just crying. Chebina so una cried about Bokwari. Abi, Tinubu will do 8 years. And there is nothing anybody can do about it. There is a lot of people will do about it. Let's start from the fact that the world now kind of knows that our 419, that they knew about Nigeria all this while, the one that a lot of people have done so much, Nigerians have excelled in different fields, in their different choosing careers, in Nigeria and even outside Nigeria, all over the world. Nigerians who have put Nigeria name on the map for positive things. Nigerians who did all of this by themselves, individually, and then collectively in some cases. Today, the idea of Nigeria, of Afrobeat, Nigeria, of amazing people, and with so much diversity, and every other boo-boo they sold to all of us, is all gone. The world is going to come back to remember us as the drug trafficking country, a narco state. The world is going to come back to know that officially money laundering, and then certificate forgery, and all of that, everything that will come out of Nigeria now must be scrutinized before Nigeria compromise the standard of the rest of the world. There's nowhere in the world, there's no country in the world that can take Nigerians en masse. Nowhere in the world. We are going to end up wallowing in that contraption, and opportunities are going to continue to be scarce and scarce and scarce. The reasons why Nigerians are poor is simply because the space of opportunity have been so suffocated. It has been so, suffocated, so to say, to the point that what Nigerians lack, young and old, is opportunity. A lot of Nigerians, thanks to social media and the internet, they have been able to build careers, train themselves, build careers that have taken them out of poverty, even though they didn't leave Nigeria. All of these are going to further put to question now. A lot of people are going to question you. You would have a lot to prove now than before that you are not like other Nigerians. You haven't done anything wrong, okay? It is just that elections have consequences. Starting from the UK, the whole searchlight is starting. A lot of you will remember Tiamiyu, that Aeronco that came to the UK on a dependent visa with his supposed arrangee wife or so. He came to the UK and decided to become travel agent on social media. He opened up a YouTube channel, opened up a Facebook channel, and then he started telling people how they can forge their certificates, forge their CVs, forge this, forge that, forge marriage, this and that, and come to the UK as a couple or as students. This guy decided to invite BBC to tell them what they didn't know. Nigerians forged certificates for their immigration application and all of that. Now, who asked you? Well, the result is out. I know you have seen this. Listen to this again.
Hundreds of UK registered nurses must retake their boards after widespread fraud has been uncovered at a Nigerian testing center. They are suspected of obtaining their results fraudulently through the Nursing Midwife Council exam by using proxy testers, stand-ins, to take their tests for them. It was actually Pearson VUE that tipped off regulators. So 515 UK nurses tested at the center, and at least 48 are suspected, and now all of them must retake the test. They're being given 3 chances to take it and pass. If they refuse to take it or fail after 3 attempts, they're going to have to go to an investigative committee. And additionally, 669 of 1,440 who have applied to the UK register after testing at that center in Nigeria are suspected to be fraudulent applicants, and they're also required to take a new computer-based test. It just keeps happening. Hundreds of UK registered nurses.
It just keeps happening. Because you cannot compromise the standard here. Do you understand? You can't. And there is no way it's not going to show up. Now that your president is the forger-in-chief, Grand Certificate Forger-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, somebody will no go school, is now commanding the armed forces of Nigeria. Person will forge certificates is now controlling professors, scholars, educators in Nigeria. And you think things never go south already. One of the appointees of Tinubu, went on today for a screening as a minister, and this happened. I'll show you.
Yes, distinguished Senator Masha.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, Senator Sunday Marshall Katun, I represent the people of Kaduna South Senatorial District from Kaduna State. Mr. President, I want to thank you for this privilege to stand and speak on behalf of our nominee. First, to thank Mr. President for nominating him, and to quickly state that the 3 senators from Kaduna have no objection to his nomination. Also, to state quickly that he was also born in my senatorial district. He attended the same A-levels like me, where he also became a lecturer when I jackpot to the same year I jackpot to University of Lagos to commence my studies as a lawyer. He's a seasoned administrator from his resume as presented. He's also somebody who has understudied the
Mr. Wait. Can you say water, give me water. Water and sugar. Water and sugar. Get sugar, and water. Is there where is Dr. Wale? Can the camera cease immediately?
water, sugar. That is the National Assembly that collected nearly 300 billion naira from the palliative money just about a month ago. There is no ambulance in the National Assembly. There is no doctor on site. There is no medical staff on site. But billions of Nigerian money is being stolen and shared inside that gathering of all those lunatics. You did hear the Senate president. Give him water, sugar. Water, sugar. And you said Nigeria is not a joke. I am proud of Nigeria. Look at the Erocos. Look at them. I did say something back then that, you see these guys, they are so useless. So useless that I kind of believe they are the worst in the whole world. They intentionally didn't give you power, electricity. After 63 years of independence, 24 years of democracy, no electricity. They intentionally didn't give you motorable roads across Nigeria. 63 years of independence, 24 years of democracy, no real road in Nigeria. They intentionally didn't build your education system, your schools, or fund them. After 63 years and 24 years of democracy. And I can go on and on like that. But the problem here is that they have become so comfortable in their failure that they don't even care about their own lives too. They don't care. They can't think, or they don't care that it is cheaper and safer to have a working medical system anywhere and everywhere in Nigeria, accessible, quality health care, than to go and pay thousands of pounds sterling, hundreds of thousands of dollars to American doctors, to British doctors in Britain, American doctors in Paris, American doctors in America. Now, when you have an emergency, they have to put you inside a plane, fly for 6 hours to the UK before you can go and see your special doctors with the best medical abi. They have to fly you to Germany or France or fly you to America. Isn't that selfish? In failure, they are okay with that. If any of them collapsed during their own session in their National Assembly, they go to look for person wey get knife. Put knife, put spoon for him mouth. Girini. He don't get giri. Abi na warakpa. No, it's not warakpa, it's conversion. Give him sugar, give him water, give him milk. They go come carry you after 30 minutes where you don't collapse. Wait, water everything then do your mouth and with spoon in your mouth. Is a senator? Are you okay, senator? Oh, Damboro Allah, Shege Allah. Inule ma hurt you. Do you understand? National Assembly of Nigeria, they don't have any medical emergency, but they always budget for it. They don't like themselves the same way they don't like all of you. They don't like us. They don't like themselves. They don't care about themselves. All they care about is, what am I going to get today? Which one am I going to get from all of this? And they don't care about anything else. If there's any health scare, any health emergency, even inside the household rock. Baba. So if you are looking for something to tell you that Nigeria is done for, then maybe, I don't know, maybe you are living under the rock anyway. Apologies to the Nigerians in Enugu. I say that they owe you so much that you have to protest, Abi. How can government owe you 7 months' salary? Why are you going to that work? How can anybody hold you salary of 7 months? You cannot hold me 1 month salary. We say, well, I don't go shell. You have to explain. Then 2 months, 3 months, 7 months. It is a Nigerian thing. Just like they said it in courts in America. It is a Nigerian thing to forge certificates. It is also a Nigerian thing for criminal politicians never to pay their workers. Just loot the money. So that when you pay them, they will become so grateful. They will be thanking you. Say, thank you, sir. Thank you for paying. He has paid 5 months out of our 2 years unpaid salary. They conditioned people to be like this.
And we want to respect it. But after this 1 week or so, we are waiting for more discussions and expecting a result. And the only result we are waiting for is payment of 7 months. At the end of this month, it will become 8 months. We expect that the government of Enugu State will pay us and pay us the arrears so that we can happily work. If you go to the unit, you can see everywhere is dry. The reason being that the nurses are not there. How is it going to be if we withdraw the whole nurses for 1 week? We consider the citizens of Enugu State. We don't want them to die because we know the place we occupy in health system. And we want government to also recognize that and give us what we deserve. We are only asking for our 7 months salaries. And we have come to talk to you. We have written asking you for this, giving you ultimatum, and you did not sleep. We have to appreciate you for all the effort. We have been in constant meeting with you. You have been in constant touch, showing absolute respect to the management, to nurses of CSU Teaching Hospital. Thank you. As you have come, we have spoken our minds. We are in pain. We are hungry. We are starved. Yes. We are under pressure. Yes. Our children have gone to school. They have been sent back because we cannot pay. Some of our girls have left their marriages, relocated to Enugu in order to work. They have been working and they need to be paid. Thank you, sir, and God bless you. Thank you.
Good morning, my good nurses.
Good morning, sir.
And all those who are here with us. I greet you. The problem of your non-payment was the first thing that greeted me on my first day. When I was moving around, I will ask who is where. They say he's not around. I say, nurse, why is she not around?
7 months salary, and people see they go work, because everybody is corrupt. But he's there, he's doing shalaye. They said that you go shalaye tire, no evidence. That is Nigeria. Doctors who are to look after people, they were owed 7 months salary. And these same doctors and all these nurses from all over Nigeria, they are those who are so desperate that they just want to jump and leave Nigeria. And there are many others who are just like, you know what, I'm done with all of this, I'm leaving. I'll go and start afresh. They owe you 7 months salary. How would you survive? How are they surviving? It is a Nigerian thing. They will tell you it's a Nigerian thing. So Chicago State University denied that the certificate that Tinubu is parading is not from them. They did not give it to him. And if for anything at all, if Tinubu attended their school, they will ask him to come and pick up his certificate. There is a certificate that the real Tinubu did not pick up. All of this drama, all of the letters you are seeing, that Chicago State University has released Tinubu's letter, Tinubu attended our university, all those fake letters you saw online, they were fake, including this certificate of Tinubu. But remember what they say. Okay, hang on. This one is the constitution. This fake. This is fake. This INEC. This stamp. Where is that again? This stamp on this side here, which they said is from Chicago State University. They have rejected. They said no, it's not our stamp. Tinubu forged it. This logo in the middle here. They said that is not also their logo. He forged it. You see this signature on the right, Elnora, she wasn't the president of the Chicago State University at the time Tinubu said he requested for this. There is also no record of Tinubu requesting for another copy of his result because he never went there. Tinubu never went to any school. Okay? He has been walking about with a fake documents. And in this regard, on your screen right now is to let you know that the result is out. Here you get now, a lot of people, organizations, schools, they are going to go stricter now. You will need to prove more that you are not fake before you can get anything from outside Nigeria now. Within Nigeria as well, a lot of people are also going to become skeptical. If a certificate forger can be your president, what else is he hiding? Who are those that are going to be working with him? You see, this is where morality also comes in. I mean, talking about people that Tinubu has given appointment to, if they also have morals, if they are not as the same person that gave them the appointment, at least you will be expecting them now that to start resigning and say, you know what, I am resigning from this government. I'm so sorry, I don't want to be part of this government anymore. But Nigeria politicians don't resign. They double down. They give you excuses. They tell you to look away, move on. He's not the only person that is doing it. Why are you so interested in Tinubu? I am so interested in him because Nigerians who are supporting him, they were not even enough to give him power. He rigged himself in an election that is so controversial. Now he's an impostor. Everything that he presented, he committed a perjury, identity theft. He is a criminal, and parading himself as president of Nigeria, I would have to start answering why I am not a criminal, even though I'm from Nigeria, because of him. So I'm not going to stop talking. Leave him alone. Ogun lo ma pa e o. Tó bá tún sọ pé kí n leave Tinubu alone. Ogun o lo ma pa e o, lo ma pa tìran o. Èpè lọ̀rọ̀ yín gbà o. I did not in any way campaign for Tinubu or ask anybody to support Tinubu. I happen to be one of those who told you when the shit hit the fan, even those who no support them go collect. Now, Nigeria, I dey here screaming every now and then. Now, I would have to prove myself that I am not a criminal. I am not a certificate forger. The green passport, if I take it anywhere, I am going to be scrutinized. Possibly they are going to take me into a room and tell me to take off all my clothes. They want to, and then bend my ass. A drug dealer is the president of Nigeria. Certificate forger. Olori buruku e wa nbere lọ́wọ́ mi pé, what is my business with Tinubu? Leave him alone. Leave Tinubu. Ogun ló máa pa ẹ́. Sorry, it's like I kind of see some of your faces. Those of you who always kind of want to say that. It's like I'm seeing your faces. Ogun máa bá mi fọ́ ojú yín dànù ni o. Èpè ló máa pa yín o. Àtẹ̀yìn àti kọlù o. You understand now? Àlọ́ lámi òun là ń rí o, ẹnìkan rábọ̀ ẹ̀ ogun ló máa bá mi waste yín o. Láyé má ever sọ mi pé leave him alone o. Now Jeje we dey here, he forced himself on you. The consequence of that is now that everywhere you go, you would have to explain yourself. You go explain tire. And some said, if you don't get evidence, I will law nìyẹn. Sure, you understand? So in this case, tell your children that this man also supports a drug dealer, a certificate forger, and because he, Confessor Soyinka, who publicly called the young people fascists, he called them names, gaslighted them, and set them up to be killed. Wole Soyinka want the young people to be killed in Nigeria for demanding answers from the criminals who have captured their institutions in Nigeria. Tell your children, this man is not a hero. He is a zero. If your own hero live long, they will turn to villain. Wole Soyinka defended a drug baron. Wole Soyinka defended a certificate forger. Wole Soyinka attacked Nigerians because they were demanding for Tinubu to go to jail where he rightly belongs. Then on the other hand, tell your children, this is Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Che Guevara, and every other revolutionary individual and personality that you grew up respecting. Tell them, this is David Hundeyin, the slayer of the mighty, David that killed the Goliath. No matter what the Agbadorians, the political Ushins, the political beggars, no matter all what these unity beggars and ass lickers narrative they want to spew, tell your children you were alive when David, son of Hundeyin, took the mighty in Nigeria to the gutters with evidence. If you didn't take anything from this conversation tonight, I hope this particular one should motivate you to let you know that the future that your children are going to feature in, you better be part of those that will write it. I want to be part and parcel of those that will write the script for the future that my children are going to feature in. And that future is going to be a future devoid of praising, defending criminals in public offices who are in so many ways against the civil liberty of humanity, the God-given right, fundamental human right. Animals who have now decided to take away those rights from us and keep us short. The future they want to picture for us, the future they are trying to work for us, is a future of slavery, drug peddling, money laundering and terrorism, corruption from at all scales, like corruption in monumental scale, a future of penury, poverty, fear. And I say no to that. When you see the criminals, mention them. And don't forget, if YouTube says this video also offended Tinubu, or it has made the Lagos Abobaku, so man abroad, to lose their shit again, well, I have delivered what I already have to deliver to everyone tonight. The message is delivered. So if they want to shut down the YouTube, they can go ahead now. And if they can't shut it down, ladies and gentlemen, meet me here again tomorrow. And thank you for spending your evening with me. Share this broadcast. You can still like it. Look out for the replay tomorrow or the premiere. And that is if the Mayegun's Diary Politico is still active tomorrow. If it's not, you are going to hear from me. I'm not going anywhere. Again, you have a wonderful night, okay? And thank you. Good night.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1. Mayegun ti dé o, ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú. Mayegun Diary, Mayegun #1. sẹ́ o kẹgbọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Mayegun Dayare na ibi number one.
Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ o làwa mọ̀ dódódódó.
Mayegun Dayare na ibi number one.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o, Mayegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀, Mayegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkanṣá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní má ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Ha! Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o, ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Mayegun ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́hún ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀bọ̀ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́, ó ti dọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ fòyà. Àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o, ó kó ẹni tó bá dán o àkàmù. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì o. Ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. ṣùgbọ́n ní má ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.